Hello, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jibe raba dawada na konton na bismillah. Atal mi yalno ko atalla ka fadan fi sainten dang gambia tamo talam kono da wal sida sainten ding. Kona fara ni nyami ko man demanding baka cha do da mo tara jam kamin kuma di context matters. Mo fena di mi yalna ka ko ma da baki wala ni ko mi yalna ko wala keda alo ko kono. Minala pour ka je ko ka kacha ka janjang anin ka jibe ko mona mun dalla miro tije tumando bato manke mirol be ani mirol ba kanen na bari ndar fana binala pour kaje ko kana jibelo tandi o fanani na be na min soro jan kala de fly bala nyami wala mu doctor malmo sambu atala modi mi alna ko abidjan and Usman Gano Gago rather because I thought it was Gano it's Gago afana mu kena modi mi alna ko abam feño la jam Tuba Mare at I believe shortly he's gonna join us and then the program will continue. So bidum ba min katala wala mi Allah ka badending sukuda lari mi rare min kala no sukuda kulo kun tambira di masi tambira tumo men president baro ata kera modi mi Allah ko ay gambenol kumandi ni am so surtout sukuda ko pour ka jaba nyeka take wala mi Allah ka badending ila politiko nyin na kunyani na kuma kan jama ay wala sadaji anala minister wala kala fendi mi Allah ko bimbe jibe la jam andum fana makala modi mi Allah ko kun tambira di masi tambira sorry and then we will but diamlo ko jama jama la andum fanan ba tata moti nyala bake na fenkol badula na panelist wol pour ye fo kankula jama lon jama because mo jamal bije ko Usman Sefero je Facebook le ba Dr. Malmo myself and the rest but imanam bota dami malmo ta bota dami wala ulo ko na jama bari baro fondare tal fa ya malmo na study tala I mean even mundal malmo good to have you.
All right, abaraka back tomorrow, kumada back in Murunta Nanjang Korenga Purka Kachasuro, and Kasuro and Coman. It's good to have us, and Mokanda Balamati, but I would a political farm. One about a Bruford Sane mentoring. Now my son mentoring wrong kai, Ventole and Tole AU Summit host Gambia. Tariko Kemi along Kananamanki or Tundoka. So, what Gambia la sate men diara sate lu beti. Banko mi alon ka yuruana Cairo siata. Adua jabo warta, babi je inka fengo baby je. Brikamon call lafta je la ba e para butom e man sabati non na je. So ntolom brikamon call Mario te brufud sane mentere. The border world.
Thank you, Doc. Abaraka bake. Okay, I was in a bag good food on call. Yal nene le tafi ala kodal beta. Doc, yeah, I'm sorry. Usman, you can unmute yourself and come on.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. I'll be kontum back. Honorable Ali nge kontum doctor. Malmo me kontum back. Yo, kai ka kuma se ente boda bakadaji jimara URR. Bakadaji mo jamaay jelon ne ni kata basi kata minin jela. Kata mi man kamanal president baro ya la jalli fu tanto liya. Ina ta basi. Doctor Malmo manam ko wala nakko to le ba.
Ana baro ko.
Ay mo be kontum. Program mo nyina.
All right, so Doc, the time we think about it, but do not program ko kan ba kama. Kona fanya min kabaro program ni kum damu dula ko mamin kajara be one of the ending president baro kabren atata las Burfut Sukuta because the meeting was joint meeting, I believe, right? So it was Burfut Sukuta at the same time. Abasilo for a launch can I say?
Sukuda. Arara Sukuda. I want to brufud Sukuda. Mona brufud Sukuda.
But I'm on the joint meeting. So I mean, regardless. So we move on. So video follow me on the combo ko jibela bag wala tumo min present aram barwa blue lik alcohol ya ko alcohol nyana kere modi mi alna ko sai nyana dollar sitra mi alna ko pre yata bambu kata ke modi mi alna ko ka fasa ala politiko nyin kon kabra nyin fo ku jama wala bulata no kan mo kere modi mi alna ko mon kontan ala kuma ko nyin no fana nyin and but before mbal analysis sigla from that point left up jam kandami no video nyin jibe together with our audience and from there we can have our take on it and I think the video is right here.
ngamen fo alkalo lele manka mankunda
lima waxoon borom dëkk yi manka mankunda
iko al manka politicien ol
ñu ne yéen alkaali du ngeen politicien
sonta jeel al manka politicien
loolu nangu naa du ngeen politicien
bari ngoy ko jamaale alta do ko la
waaye dama leen kana leen jël liggéey
chefo jamaale alta do ko la
chef yi kana leen jël liggéey
ministre jamaale alta do ko la
ministre yi kana leen jël liggéey
president baro le alta do ko la
président Baro
nana president baro be ñobaro alla jumala dala mutala
ma ne kon président Baro suy bëre kana war a téye ngem
al ñanta president baro la dala mutala woto
ma ne kon li nga xam ne ni mooy daalaay président bi
woto wole al ke politicien ol ti
looloo tax ñooñu nekk ay politiciens
mina committee dara la le
dinaa taxawal ay comités
committee melia lonko ministre o ministre ibota region o mento
comité boo xam ne ni ministre bi région ba nga jógee
il faut nan dabe o committee kono le
yow ca comité booba gaay
banko be kan
ci biir réew mi yépp
wayri mbele ñanta wulla ngan tewo siti nga do koke
waaye ñun ñëpp nag ñoo
donc
jóg nañu
mbele wo may ñola president
jutu
baro
mo
ka
kilinna
buñ xeeb
tumo mina wa jama ka
ndel man jutu mo mola
ñun
yeah, so mbele mo ñola president baro wa jama ko fanani na ako I mean abadala sidla you know alkalole, but I mean this was a surprise to me because growing up in combos alkalol would last sing sinaka bo senior dun den tele na mama masaka alkalo appoint. But Doc, what's your take on that? Do you think alkalos are appointed by the president?
Yo moro bao like megambia ko la kachala ka kumante abake pour ka diamo damuta nin ka diamo ken na kangol la na yalla pour moli ya fahamu min kachaka yo ngalla moy president wala le bare lafta nyinin karo min follow kela akatele do ko di nyini bela jumale do ko di president wala
banko dingol
o banko dingol kono o sefol manke banko dingol te ba minister manke banko dingol te alkalol manke banko dingol te woto janneng se atabe sembo soto la pour ka fo alkalo le kon tele ngal tombong alkalo kundal soto ta gambia la janneng atabe kala hadama dum fawti. So one thing that president mamming or I have fahamula wala be tilimbali alla wala nyinti ko ntolla traditional ruling systems wala ben na satel kono hani fo bi yalon ko tubabol ye tarale dole be je tubabol le wol fena bare alkalo kunda nyaton kayalu wol manke kutimi yalon ko mansala ke tombong. Even though mansala ke approve bare mans ila tombondirol ka kemonati ke ta ko wala munyente min yalon ko min ye sate follow wala sate lan sare laka ida ibe kabila election le kala o baji belal ko nyin kabila kar wala alkaliya futata wala ma wala karde alkaliya futata telama yena ata se folia wala la kotongol to get those approvals woto president obuka moke alkalti kadu president tanteng hani sate wo sate de gambia tundol ka ando nyin sate our cultural leadership styles wala be je hani fo bi now nimbota alkalol tato ni ko alkalol ye ko ntele ngal ta do ko wala andal nyanta ntella dala mutala alkalol kamini be nyaton kaya fo alkalol le tamu molti satel ko for alkalol la independence in the community to make sure that they rule people equally and make sure that there is no bias in the way they operate for saying adama yoke muntole ngo abe wal kono niko civil servant sol ko ntele ngalta do ko la fo adama le civil servant jalle be do ko la masakunda jani adama ka kefenti adama le wolta do ko la adama e wolta do ko la le.
Exactly.
There are permanent secretaries and people in high position in government who were working way before Adama would ever think of becoming president. So Adama did not give those people jobs. Even whereas the people he appointed in positions, they are working for the government of the Gambia and the Republic of the Gambia, not for Adama. Adama does not own the Gambia or does not really, have any powers to tell people that you must vote for me or go and actually support my campaign because you work for my government. He does not own the Gambia. The Gambia belongs to the Gambian people and not any individual. Moro, masakundal kanala masakundal kata. Adama masakundal le tarajang. Of course, his political class, whom he would have appointed in key position, would be part of his political campaign because when politician already and we tado kola politician yalakan. That we understand. They work for the country. When it is time for politics, they go and do their politics. But you cannot compel the entire citizenry. He's giving a threat. Because that is to say, and let me give you a synopsis of what Adama did in Burfood Willinkama. Where Tandilo Kuala Kumakao, Tilimbali Alabije, Tajidinte Alabije, Tonyata Koma. Wulin kama la alkalo nga fuele kabrin wulin kama belola as a community. Those people were giving land to our people in Brufut for free. Kola notik wada mala sambaje. Mala min kala bojan nala molo mo kende balu. Ya Brufutun kol fasa ya Brufutun kol mako ya keno di mola free. Moli ya farmlands also je sai mo jama be sabati wada bulin kama nara ke sate yiru warim bat. Akate wole bondi alkali yala because wobukate la political support because UDP la ka winje. O Gambia nyanda tamala wala nyama.
Sad.
Lansare dingol min yalon ko e mama woro wulol las dulal e keda ji alkalol ti adama mi yalon ko nobody knows where he comes from na man kundat fondol bita man kundala nga adama nyolla mol bondi alkal yala nga modo keje adama kan tolla sadel do ko tolla alkalol sembola batebul atebe wala baylale because wala man ratela political support ka wala modol lebe je min yalon ko wala ka win wasatel do fo alkalol tam molti ba namra mom wala carte mi fontalti.
Exactly.
But his recent statement speaks to the fact that Adamo does not care about the well-being of Gambians, and he does not care about the existing structures, and he does not care about things that we complain about the former regime. Ya Jamaica mole use, alkalo ni sefol ni fenkol pour kala politiko wafi. But even with that, malaya ka low political platform to ka fo mole ko nalman quartier faynye. Even though we have seen that some people will lose their jobs or whatever because of their families' political linings or what they suspect, that they probably support a particular opposition or whatever. But Adam alaman kundal kafo mole ko nim alkalo man carte en alman carte fay nyanta carte fay entele do ko diala. That is a threat because to lose your job, there are two things: you support my campaign or you lose your job, and communities got to resist that. Thank you.
All right. Dog number was saying about because personally, I think alkalos they play a very important role in society. Niada jibe purka kairo ni tengo sabani in the community kono. Ntala alkalo is the best alkalo in whole Gambia. That is Mr. Bojan. I mean, I can say this for free. Mr. Bojan will solve matters many alnako, at least nama mutaku. If it is not properly handled, the matter can exalt to court. Nde case law witness many alnako. I mean, incoming fine guy fake him probably want threaten level. So sometimes Mr. Bojam is somebody me alnako aka case from sometimes put a kind for the police station or a canola put kaja ko ka mediate and land issues. Alkalo njikita ko ila rule manke dama put land ko ni dama solve. But they play a very important role in pre-colonial Gambian era, colonial era, and even post-colonial era. Alkalo keda modi mane ko simfa ba jaba ikola ta kake sarif andu alfala mu fana mu ning multimial na ko nyara jibe tundul kantaring baring italla ke multimial na ko ka football dadanin football la fatinyala and then nin sade fana kunya na kala sade ko italla ke mol mbanya ni wol keda multimial na ko I mean, the man safe back la position on you, ila integrity and fana ila doku kendo nyi nyana minka society nyi kono keno fendi me an ko as a nasi da so the back but mira Usman noga Usman in 2 minutes man fo man ko kunda alkalo adam borole appoint ko mala alkalo kabiri ya president baro ko mo kan nyi mai do you think alkalo they can be really involved in politics
baraka bake o aliyu docteur fana baraka na kacha seneyata andum ala kuta yo comme beringa dia woni moy comme ma hakilo bulandi ya jamela watolla Manzakunda koto men bota jang parce que wato le nga jibe comme mol me yalon ko fongi manke politicien oti e ke dundi politiko kono e ke jorongol ti pour ka politiko nyim fasa ando nita ta hani ma fasa wadul ase keno ye foila do ko wala dum mantura dol kono wa kam tambole je kamem binaka ay new sula baake bi nga diamo ñi moy because nga jiwel alkalolu lodulal be warle ñamen ko satawol kono nan problème ol duntamol tema satawol kono mol me yalon ko man tar political party killing kono e buka political party killing fasa alkalo ka diamo no temale pour ka problème o ñil bang pour badia ñi isabati nim futuol tata e la njurta alkalol kalole fanan ka jibe ko futu nyoma nyole ibe sela nyoka nyaadile ibajala ila futu e continue problème kana tari idamol tema yo sayni molme ya lon ko e be nyin place to me ya lon ko akoleata e be mol tema e ka sede ke mol tema andu ka kito ke mol tema me ya lon ko e mankilia e le siol mankilia e la politiko fanan ngaji ki wolte kliya nola sa niol tay ki wol kidim kilila pro yela politiko nyim fasa akamta sayin ibe so bola dundi kango alkalo nyil tema anila moral mol katun sayin nim momon di ngosato kono fanan imman alkalo nyin noma president ya bula menna alkalo bo mutala ajawoleti ando abo jela molte me alon ko iba balikan ala palaso nyin comme ali afanyamen atatamino wala alkalo lu ngamentara gambia jang tara fengolem mol ka ketale ya sika nyola ya di nyola sate jama han sa o bekerin jele bar nga jiwele o falintale wati sorota kuma sa man kuma sa sayin kuma sta bring marali follow men benu jang fokana sayin yo bari miyaji we sayin president baro ka simfamel taten katun ate joleta a londi alkaloli
busunda
sa
na
ba
me ka fe
jibe kan
busunda ko
busunda woni andum akko kana jofana nyin lafale so nyin jo ki kan kom say wo nyanta ke fenneti me ya lonko alkalol fana nyanta ka ta fana na jojole bara nyina tale kom alkalolu e ka jo men soto jo nyin banko dingol la nyat e ka nyatankol men jo wala ka wol jo abuka bo mo kilina ji fokono
exactly
ila jo tresorile comme permanent secretary la jo ka bo trésorier nyame il faut fana sefol fana nyanta ka politico kele governor nyanta ka political ke ñinol be mo civil servant let andun gambia la constitution o kono hana man tar constitution o kono gambia la tiyo comme dokula la tamandir la silo ñinna ay tan lo mo sifañin imanyane la political lan kane mandila ka to la doko ñin kenyale ko su man sakanale man sakamuru man sa doka boy man sa doka nanan wo mo la doko ñin ka continuer yo ni la political ko la ñing wala ibe fasaro ke la man sakunda men yo itandi o ka me itandi wala ko mi la doko be nasilale ning mansa membe siri no bata jeynin donar so kamala kule me alon ko miro nyanta ka kala bakele katun ay men nyitandi abe men chodi kan wolem ko murobe ke kan nun ku ko to la me alon ko dolbe man la folla akamta e president barobe simfalta kam pour ka wolle nati nan kotake yo annum pour ka joso ke fanan ka fo ko mbal jo kande karefa president barobe ke jo gambe dingol le kejo.
Correct. So thank you so much, Doc. I think that is well understood. You are muted, though. Yeah. Tuba. Man mo nyun ko imanon ke manika ka mo itendem baga. So Tuba, I mean, I know you are here with us. Video min boda min play ka sana ni wala president baro a blog likila ka alkalole. Ako alkalole ko nalman support blog silala. I mean, ita mo modnya na ko you are from Combo, and then yala na alkalo ko operate nyami yata land dispute la. Na kana kudo na ka patenning ka society ning ka put into a very rightful way. Pour ka jako ning ku la fama mana alkalole mol ka por alkalole pour ka ko ning ka topoto. Bari saying pour ka alkalole da bula politiko ning kono. Firama kabring iye kuma ko ning mai. What was your thought about it? What's your take on that?
Ali wa baraka be mol konto na Dr. Mal nge konto ani Usman yo I mean nko lafa kama mfono mal moy wol fo fa pareta so ndela diamu be soni ala len I mean I don't see any reason monata na alkalol dabe bulala politiko kono alkal jamal fo bije ne kabri you know ngokuma kan woni moy it was very funny because ngala alkal jamal fo bije ngol le fon siata barot so e kana lo e ko kuma siata ko the platform modo because you are a president you can be unprecedented in a second or so or maybe at most in 2026 or even beyond it does not matter ibe mela je nyamen alkalol should be apolitical at the end of the day alkalo alkal tar katre fa wala yemolo sele be katre fa la meye bar ning nyaaton ko me yalon ko wo mbele wo tambindi wo na ko den gato la place wa ka wo tala ayata dundi politiko kono just because whether he felt ko alba support kan o dol mantra support kan so jorol nin ko wala kaminol men for den you know Usman bodo men for la baro buka mojo there is no one in the government member claim la kwatela ka moljo no it's a collective, you know, kodo kata mo bulu. It all from jole. So we call it the Gambian people are paying you. Taxpayers will be joking. So ite munyadon ko dambal tije. You are not, you know, you are not the one who owns that money because nganyolo na janing melbe kala minister o janing melbe kala president nganyolo. So ni mantara ka ka non kapri mantara o palaso do bi na do dong ibe ibe claim kan ko itela kamol jutel kamol katen. I think that is, that's unfortunate. So ndede nimu alkalote, I'm not going to listen to a kafoko president ko
But
I'm not going to do
tuba
it.
janin bida malmoka.
Sorry?
Janin bida malmoka. I just want to ask you this question. There is a legislature. Luwala bije mi alla ko man say sembo so wala minister. Pour kan kalo defendi ke pon. Do you think ni luwala ni defendi mi alla ko inyane revisit properly? Because kawul so mandare kalo mi alla ka meri sanyitan sa ka bonda place ko nyindo.
Well, when you will nada, because I'm not really aware of what will be, but an RTBG will mulu let intermantara will bunyal. If they are not constitutional, all these little things about alkalos and so on, like that I know for certain. But near Tarakulua Nimbijele, those should be revisited. In all manana kekeluat me along Kanyanta Kataraje. Sate was sate, molly bije mel full out blood, melali munyatum kulti sate long. Ite na dorong yebo na atolia ite ko sate tele mo molto na ka to ke nyaadon ko wo mo itela political agenda. That's very unfortunate. Ngamal mo labe example dikang of Brufut and so on. Just imagine maybe a Banjulian who recently relocated to Brufut 3 weeks ago, baro yo tayo ke alkalo to blood. What damo be sialal. So and those things, those kind of things can happen politically, and it's only going to create funny situations. Nimbaro bora president yala, wal kal sifal menul yala ko ye chikana ne ye keje. Ite amra sare molbe wala moila. What a kalano. So those kind of laws, I don't think they are there to serve the people. There is just a political propaganda tool. They just want to use it to kind of help themselves. I don't see it any other way. Now, those kind of things which are not constitutional, these small laws which are very political.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
These are laws. I mean, it was drafted by people. Mole nyinkeji. Apulka jago kamaralo do mura kasembo do default. Amenke komsa ajita na samtolo wala kura ayo no. I mean, they did this just to do certain things. So, Doc, na second video nindo. I mean, we would say there are laws because I'm back at the multimiana kwa alkalo suspend and indicate kwa sembo so wala na yake no one them. I know alkalo do be mina na kwa market when it comes to land dealing and stuff like that. Well, buswonya ne mara. But for political reasons, coming to Allah food, willing come and so on thereabout. Do you think these laws need to be revisited by the parliament? Nabije. Pour ka jago alkalo sa sembo fana so no nyami sela katara kila marlo ka continue ni kwe idalta nyami traditionally.
Along konga fa nyamin non dron alkaro la ruling system are traditional. With a conventional governance structure, ibaji wela how those things fit into the system. So Gambia wale atinani for saying it's even a problem. Purikaja moy land function. You go to the alcalo, yeta area council, yeta physical planning. Ibaja la kai la killing for most banani asuda because all of these things are not integrated and there is no structure. Mi along ko yata ndiko karadan dula mo janete, kala role and responsibility mo nyinati, kala independence mo nyinati. Wole be mansoto. But let's look at it traditionally. Traditional means that wala nyindu ko alkalo kundal ka dulal de min yalon ko either sate lo lalo wala ka je sate nyaton ko. Yo wala kabilo le min yalon ko wala wo sate lo wala ka wo sate nyaton kaya. So what a mansa kunda min yalon ko wo soroda after kabiri nyin sate lo soroda. Ida ta fono la wo sate le ko e nyanta nyaton ko min tombonna. Ila maralo nyade iso silo tandina lo ko alkalo de alla role and responsibility mo nyinnet. Andu nalma ke ku fanande luwabe larin tenne nsina murung alla molu kam alna alla mol yaji benno min nyanda kala tingo de bara ni tapale ya kula ke tapale ya yalo mu tapale yalt. There are laws that are near land waf mo fulama kai moro. If you have to go to jail, you go to jail. It doesn't matter if you're an alcalo.
Exactly.
It's just like if you're a minister and you do corruption, you have to go to jail.
Indeed.
But you cannot use that gavo molioko mbakare bondi lale because they are not supporting my political agenda. They are, of course, like a minister can be removed. The laws are there. Like an alcalo, you are working for your community. Even though the president does not select you, but when you are selected, you are actually endorsed by the regime through the safe force and whatever. And those safe force will find mobility solar the minister to actually control our local societies. So but I mean you want to remove the wisdom on which these laws are created just to put your own selfish desire and interest on top of people. Now, like this, like Tuba said, maybe a more born in Banjoli, Bokela willing come. Ibuka Wanyama, like I mean, found. Abe Tuba bondi la Tuba do Makel Kalota, badi wali dundal tema, badi kunto dundal tema, Masakunda, Jauna Mansura Dunyamenko Kusifaki. because jenta bondi je you go and pick my cousin there waya alon ko tonya karla nyanta kala je bara man sakunda len ko do ma bondi ayente keje ni mu doti sa fono ko haninta tatala bara dola bi jewol fanan ka silala wala fanan lafta nyaton ka nyinala they will accept it so e muna dundi wodo ye badi ya sonno wali o dundi wolte ye so bo dundi wulu wulu nyol da malati so these are the things that the government is doing, is actually creating division in our communities. Andung yalong moro. Baro min foi be baraka wallade. I mean a lot of manjago platforms in communities in Congo South. Ika fo lal kalo le al mo mobilize ale na nyun blakar. And wo be kerini. You know, I nyimiri no minga jana ngas ndolla sati al kalo jele natalo bake atala natalo be site, barola natalo be site. It had omitin blood. Kombe barola support ka. But how are you going to actually be a fair judge among the people that you are leading when you cannot actually be independent and of course, you know, be neutral? Ya tandi ko ite be barola support kam bar nin carte fayo keta ikete alkalo lo command to come and certify ko you are an independent witness ko ale nin carte lo kontile kare nyina soto as in you are actually playing neutral role sa ite bo keno la nyaadi la ko tenki moro
so
baro
we are moving to
desperado baro desperate la alon ko ala masakunda be boyla la no ngamiano nyanta ala masakunda bo endilal wala atina ko ambada nga alkalo lo silandi ni alkalo lo silata ila kore wala ila sate mo lo fanay wana so lo silandi wala ka joko malla fini alkalo kunda e wali woto lafta min nal ngoke ko ngatu sabati rinjang because hadama dum wala sabati dula wodron na soto so woto if that is threatened because the alkalo's position is threatened by the regime, the alkalo will want to maintain his position and of course will compel his people to support the regime at their will or against their will, and this is what the Gambian people must condemn.
Thank you, Doc. Os mele wo moy nyola ka jabo alkalo nyina kala moldi mi annako ila sembo nyina kala fen mi annako nyina tule bulle ye bulle ke moldi mi annako candidat ni politiko kono ye tenden sare do ko nyina nin ko ko don. So we are moving to the second video. Damin to mi annako he make an attempt to institutionalize government institution kabin to moment I command ko justice minister obakela modi mi annako for the first time in the history of the Gambia, because I've never seen it. We said Gambia is cruel, but the tactic President Barrow wanted to use in 2020, 2026, but let's watch this together, viewers and everybody.
Henry Gomez diamuta jambi
Henry Gomez wax na fi tay
bari mba fala e ko
waaye maa ngi wax Henry ne
ñina ñim politico men minaga
ren politique bi maa ñëwee
hani minister of justice abe kal campaign manager
même justice minister sax dina nekk campaign manager
Minister of Justice
mu ne ministre bi saytu loi bi
ngole ka loi tamandi
te lu moo amee loi bi
mbe osobi jamal mbe wole kumandi kan nari be bokan China
asobi yu bari man ko order muy jógee China
ni osobil nata
asobi yooyu ñëwee
yalla mba falo mbadi la jomal la
mu ne kan laa ko njëkk a jox
mbadi la alkalol la
alkali la
ngadi sefol la ngadi kumandangol la ngadi minister la isalon ka ko ñin ben politicien on
am na ñi ñëpp ay politicien lañ
Donc mbele wo moy ñola I mean ako sefol aba tisaro dira I mean justice minister ba kala mo ñana ko batambila politiko ñato kabira ñi for most a lot of political analysts ni kala mo ñana ko ñaku ya bake kaje ko ka justice minister mi alno ko wala mata tilingona ni tenko mo banko ka pour ka da dundi ala politiko ñina fanna ñina ñi mo fena di mi alno ko ay mo jamal wori back when it comes to the democracy that we all celebrated back in 2016. What's your take, Kabirama?
Near Adam Alama Sakunda Jibe, that should not be a surprise to anybody. First, just to take a case in point, who killed the cops? Moro, Justice Minister made a political Lamanga ko Baro is just formally calling him, but you made a political lale. He made alkalo dundila political conol. He made a masakunda do hula dundila political conol. And this Justice Minister has never been any impartial person who is working for the collective good of the Gambia. Kavoko, a more neutral lingolami alon ko abetonya until tamandika. Moro, nyimasa kunda de mi alonko they got let's say momi alonko ite ko wale police ufake. Atoli wala telephone mudali ya format. When it is those people who are responsible for the justice system of our country. The criminal justice system of the Gambia is run by the biggest mafias of the regime. Abewal kono this justice minister. So when you look at case by case, so barola fo amanga ko ay kula for me alon control nyanda surprise lale because ibe baraka wala. Ni mandara baraka wala kabiri usenu boja nyimol yamuta yemune fonye ngamre ko nyelo ko abenu UDP le ngamre ko nyelo ko abe do ko la brikama area council le lafa jumala non di la woto yankuba dab ngamre tolle ko nyako he was at the yankuba dabos court case in Banjul ngamre tolle ko nyako he was hired by a politicians to kill the cops. ngamire tolle ko nyako he is a rebel bare min fango yo be fo katale Usain Bojan record ya interview mun dol barola korda kon sim kato min babulu jumala tam barola nephew la tam akata jumala politique wala everyday nyi mama jabi ngamra baro kunun ngaje wala fa ka fo ko nawek min ka kuran fan fa UDP ngollo. But this regime utilized that woman's whatever that she actually put to them, it started from the police all the way to justice. Police investigation, okay, they give it to justice. Justice like a quality ku, yeah, advise ke pur kata court or not to go to court. But justice knew that these people formatted this boy's phone. What did they do? They still went to court with the case. Justice realized that he told the phone murunda itara court ka ko mama la audio filter wanyom fanyala sura Gambia. What nyini manke multi-million yalon ke betilong tamande kan Gambia. Nyini meda tilimbalian in tajidinde yani political lale. Mi yalon ko itola do ko nyanda kala minde wolon ka tilongo tamande Gambia no betema, irrespective of the political divide you are coming from. But we have seen them consistently, persecuting people many along simply because of their political beliefs. We have seen what they try to actually do to Yankuba Dabo. We have seen them go to KMC, kata wala fenko atondi, kata bunda kati forsekan. We've also seen how they are treating Usain Bojang in the Gambia. A be funny, a be political, a police all fab simply because UDP, we are complaining against Pate Jallo. But what be call another monake kawulial double kala Gambia dingo kami along ko itol sembo ma wara wote ira bank Gambia di yamandra wonyara because sembo be tol lebul palaso be tol lebul and be manta tilmo nin to nyata man lebe min taman la min diatan tolye ila politico kam. So it's not new that the justice minister is called to this particular thing. And it's nothing that I am surprised of because I know he's not a decent man. He's not an honest man. He has always been there, perpetuating this kind of things and, of course, acting in accordance to what the regime wants and not really arbitrating justice, as required. Nigeria justice system in the way they want, just to make sure that they do what the regime wants. So amanke kukutati and amanke kutimi yalon kabedanna. Police solo, all these law enforcement agencies, Ministry of Justice, the police department, and anywhere else you go, it's the same bullshit that continues to happen in our country. That is why in Toludola kan kamfa kajoko ye mulla mutaike tajirinte yam fon la banko kay ka wuliya lekan e ka kul like mi yalon ko justice should be ashamed of itself in the Gambia, just like the police. So ibe mo sifa kile wala ne be mo fala silan ka yomar baji fa wala kan e ka galala mol samba fon ko la wolon tilimot. So these people are already actually, doing what the regime wants, and they will just continue to do it. And the pronouncement are just things that are happening within the regime, and it's always out of desperado. And Gambians come out to condemn by voting out this regime to make sure that there is sanity in our politics and our governance system. Independence of the judiciary and even the justice ministry fabricate against your own citizen simply because you want to support the regime in its political ambition.
Thank you, Doc. I was another bag. Janimina Usman Khan. Akumata bag Purkajako to look back into the history because Nyara Jibe Jambeletamu Jambe institutional 2 minute jam back Purkajake double political in a Fanani Kono and Infana Purkajako used against the own very citizen many Alnako they seeks to serve. And Nimufinite me Alnako Kanyoka back personally when I saw government officials, because if you happen to read Alaji Barrow's book Dictator is Us, you will realize that Jambe, not only Jambe, we make us dictators. You will realize some people even did certain things out of their own will. Jambe because of they assumed too many powers. I don't know whether the power was being given to them by Jambe, but ibajela ko nyumo modimiano ko sembo ya landa tam useless and be wala modimiano ko imantra freedom of kan dunia dawada o minister wo jongula wo ni esimo lo nyimpango ni esimo lo nyimpango ga na masanyi talulu be malal. So ibajela ko ila freedom onya ko la steful at the end of the day, and then President Barrow aduda nya wanya sanji lo mintu da jama sia na winda ni election ko ta manya na anu tiara sikai anoda commissioner of Ambolo Purkaja Jiburoke, Tilimbalian Kodol Miana, like President Barola Tamonin, and Itabakela Modimiana is going to have a toll on you and your family. And of course, Ibakela Modimiana, you will face the justice regardless. So, Njigidako, they need to be very mindful. But us, you can comment Kabila Justice Minister involvement on Yimwe or the total involvement in politics. What advice do you have to say to the President Barrow with regards to the issue of involving Justice Minister in our domestic politics? You can unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, Ali, and Dr. Karabake. Yeah, Minister of Justice, and in general, and Minister of Justice, comme aya fa nyame wol nyanta kala mo leti me ya lonko
Yeah, I think we have lost Osman. He's trying to join again. Let me see. All right, Os, are you there? All right,
can you
let's
hear
have
me?
to. Yeah, okay. We can have. Yeah, game more sign.
Okay.
Game more. All right, I think he's struggling with the network over there. So Tuba, you can
Comme justice comme wala dadum
go ahead. Go ahead.
akan
Go
hala
ahead.
sa info.
Yeah, we are hearing you now. Game more sign. Yeah, so Tua, you can comment if you have had detection with regards to ako urka Tua iba muted na sorry 1 second. All right,
Sorry, not Baro might have been but you can ask the question to me so that I can address it specifically.
yeah, so aba men foka wala ko justice minister oba kala modi mi ko aba dadu na political 2020 ni mo modi mi ko mata tanko ni luwala ani tilimo banko sa ni ko mo mi mata tilimo ni ko bina political ko la jamo basi ala kabide ni moy mona na ya kilo ko what's your take on it?
If I were the justice minister, I would resign. I mean, that's what I'm going to do. I think that's the best I'm going to do. Personally, I don't think I will ever work for it's not an individual. I don't think I'll ever work for a system or a government or a company. The position or my responsibilities are being compromised by the head, because I think the president is trying to compromise the work of the minister. We know how important and significant the role of a justice minister is. Sani wata ko be dun la politiko kono. Am mola integrity ni la personal beliefs man kilen bar ninta len dron ko be silo ni na wol fe ngaf go ton nte yam futa gen den dati je potenke. I've heard what Malmo is saying. I think recently, the recent happenings or even the past few years coming forward, you could see that most of these ministers are in politics already. That's what their actions are saying. You don't have to announce yourself, but what all the things that have been unfolding in the scenes, being ideological, they are political moves, and they are being, they are actually being strengthened by these ministers. They are the ones who are supporting the shenanigans that are happening. The Hussein Bojang's case is very unfortunate. Up till today, it's been happening. Even the protesters, the gala groups, and all the people, things that have been happening. You could see the death of Omar Baji. But at the end of the day, justice found Kamenke and Ibukamenke, Ibukana Kual Nimboni Nyote. But back to your question to summarize it, I don't think that is okay. The president should not involve ministers, especially that of the justice minister, into his politics. NPP is an institution, it's a political party. They should have, for sure, they have their campaign managers, they have people within their ranks like other political parties. Those people should be responsible for their politics. The technocrats that you have in ministries, let them do that job, and then you leave them out of it. Otherwise, it's just going to make things very difficult. And some signs are coming. You could see, if you remember in 2016, remember happened to what has been happening to Jame prior to his defeat. A lot of things were heading in a direction. So it looks like Barrow is taking a similar trend, saying a lot of things may along Banco Dingol Mansula Kamwe at that time. And then saying things may along if you want to involve your technocrats in that could be illegal or that could be immoral. So going to 2026 is going to be very crucial if people are indeed listening to what is happening. If they are indeed listening, it will be easy for them to make a decision either to vote for or against Barrow. It should be an easy take for them. Because inya ba ko la menu be happen ka yana akiba ma fonje na lota platform do you think ko anyanta ka ko menu address another ka menu address they are miles apart. So I would resign as a justice minister, but Dr. Jallo will not.
All right, thank you, Tuma. I think that's a fair argument. I mean, Kumar about it because Nyara Jive, Minister Humbolet Miano, they are technocrats, Nimumolet Miano, Jamabala Bija Politico, and more about it. But Mbaviro do the Nyara demanding, Jenny Usman Bodi, to Momina Minister, they have a very conflicting statement with regards to the issue of the tractors. You know, tractor came in Tanzania, you know, tractor to war. Now I'm one more for tractors originally. So, us now, I mean, what's your take on that with the issue of involving minister, yeah, especially justice minister? Because justice minister, I think, mida jara justice minister ni na meaningful. I think wala namro wala tilingoning luan in tilingo. Luan in tilingo ni ko politiko kana duel de. Go ahead, boss. No, we cannot hear you. Are you muted? We have lost us. Yeah.
Can you hear me? You can hear me now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yung ka folo kom folo la ya fo nyamen olen tuba ning doctor justice minister wole marata tilingola Mansakunda lembang ani Mansakunda tano mo monding nin tilimbali ya late kan wala tajirante late kan inyanta kenya tili wala pro tilingo e sabati yo wo mo moleti me ya lonko prae tiling ay tal loling adamma akuma ta bake minister of justice minister of attorney general ni minister of justice wo manya naka dum politiko kono fereng katung ayanda ka tilingo leke ayanda ka ke bundale ti dame ya lonko tilingo aning mol me yalon ko yela hakko nakari itelle nyanta ka wokele ka sayndika mbar tonya be damen minister of justice ministry nyim fongo be kana men ba nyato bang imakata hani do manding sanji jallem kisi sol billare nyinul bundu fembu ka buje tajrinte al ketale kodol tinyata e pusir pasarata kesol bebulu ni wato wate nyinin karo ke polisol sa fo ko e kesol samba atone general ya fo de la pour kito le ke kiti buka keno fe buka keno hani karamuto di ngol mel ko e la hakol nakari le kala ko la saya siata sanji fulate kesni momala atembo be muntol sa nyinul e be mun dokule ke kan ala doko mum neti yo andun kom place dol bije amanya na jere la moye pour ye place o ta katun ika jo damba ne soto je adawala bari anyanda kete fanan ite fun wala ila integrity wala comme ite fun wala kumaya anila tilingo inyanta ko tambindile kudol bi jaman jeral ning ite la place wala do ko men nyinin ka wala ka tilin modo la ta pour kete ta kete ke masngoti atela na fakam ngamira natari mole miti meya lonko tonya i wasatale anun tonya ite molde meya lonko ye fang bunyale wala be place o nyine bulala ro eta barata jarele ye kudolke so tonya pour ka fo attorney general and minister of justice fo nyanda ka dum politiko kono o mu kuku tolti ando ayen trembakel bara tonya ni molbe kukilingolem momondi ngi tol sain mol kamem fo nun comme momondi ga fo dame yesu o sidi fo e falo sidi dame fo nyin so lem fo munen ba aka balu wol e bola yitande kam mol tonya bi je tonya tiji bang na tara e tol kela jol sotono le kana fal sotono je adreta le kuwo ku bide yata ya minister le ndiko political appointee le mu bijele bar attorney general minister of justice woni modol la lod la mankili aw manke minister o minister
Akamto ko sorry me kuna akamto ko I mean the speaker of the National Assembly at the same time the chairman of IEC. I mean these are all people me and go they are appointed by the president. Not of a co justification or use or a yardstick. About Koreana back.
wolem ñinul comme ya fa ñamen IEC lembang speaker ñol lembang president wala kawol be tombo bara ma
No,
ila comme wol ñanda ka president wala pas fasa wol ma ñane kala modi me ya lon ke ñanda ka so ka ko comme president o parti men ko ñanda ka tar wol president ko mo men be ta manke o mo be ñanta ka president wala fas ñanda ka fasa le woti je
exactly. So Doc, you want to say
woti je
something about it?
Moro president wa dia mo banne ako ate minita do ko wala nyanta tala dala lam tala IC wala nyindi ko wala tilinna police wala min ya lon ko wala nyanta ka law and order maintain e betar la jela pour ka NPP fasa sorry I don't know.
Yeah, I think
man,
it got me. So Os, are you here with us?
yes I'm here I'm bijan
Okay, is there a camera on camera ila camera finger?
you to na ya wolem comme ça en tonya be damen a direta bakele comme president baro anala NPP mun sakunda nyanda ke hakilo murende baba bakele banku dingole jiko men sote kan 2016 and in 2016 kola wolem comme marali koto men tambita nun jang o kana muruna jang ko tek
Exactly.
gos nga jibele men tambita nun wala be murun kan nan ko tek ika mol hakol nakarile tapaleyaɓe dunkan andu nun président jamme ka melta ke jorangol ti pour ka a murundi place o kono walla ka loye ka je comme ay muru président yala ngajo sin pa nyalle bita kan ko deke so kam me tan mo la wolem comme president baro fo mel ka yamar wolem molti bam men ya lonko comme tuwa ya fo nyamen mo jama bije hani ya jamme akete nyamen aman kata kon kilomètre bar mol men ba ko ma mel ka yamar mel ka tete min ya lon ko ke fanan kon kilin na fa ni wala ya tinna kudol bije ya fa kunto akeno mol ke fa
Exactly.
akam to mboku kiline je kam bi na kan ko tek so a jere tele mom nimbe mara lola fo president wala meti bang fo ministre lo meti ba ye hakilo to baka comme kilim man nan tiliwa idala bibe tilo le be kerim bar sama ila tilo be tala mo do la tilo binal andum konti bo binalal andu momon ni ye place o place mara jang sa fere fe ngollem ibe larin ibe konti bo lale andum konti bo nyin kola fo fe nyanda kay le kan nimbu sarolem abe lale kan
Yeah. So what's another back here? But doc, I mean, you are saying something very
Oh
important.
yeah, sorry man. You know, I'm not near from Kuala Malajang. I'm over from you.
Like,
So
yeah.
the point is, yeah, long Adam from ya from dunni. Ako ate momo ta doko la enyanta la dala la mutala. Ai sila doko momonati. Katilingo ninto nya sabatin di election okund. Bare atele wolta fatele meta.
Exactly.
Sa ni wole batela dala mutala woto wala nyindi ko election o chika ya diala ya fa Adam itela winta. Bao the referee should actually hold atela dala. Ora ni jumale betin woni to nyata mande kay ini wal team police sol be batela ko atela ka braga la ko police sol bentela ko jumale police sol be jumala ko daja wala ya tinna police sol ka opposition la mol bute ke la mol fa ka gambia dingol fa pour adama la politico. So who are they actually protecting, the Gambian citizenry or NPP and its surrogates? Moro ni mo ko nga mo ta do ko lol be nyantantela dala mutala wodo sang itani mol mimbe myo sabola jumala nyanda to nyani intino tamande le itani wolo tema. How many civil servants mini alon ko wala kata pour ka ke pulin fen atondi ka ke IEC representative olin fen ko ni wol be mo civil servant ani nyanda tela dala mutala woto politico mi yalon ko election o mi yalon ko is going to be free and fair wodo soto la Gambia woto sa woto ni ko mo da do ko la kay woto sa en kay alanga ci kare nga fo adama itela winda bawo IEC fon betel la dala mutaka referee nyim betel la dala mutaka woto sa en faulu mu faulu nte wo kay tol ka felon don penalty ka penalty tallulo di tele dia base ko budon tol nga zero so yala la ko mo be mo
Exactly.
it's just simple logic.
Yeah.
So hana atara fo nyama e ba jela ko yala min be do ko la feriol ta atele ol fananta do ko ni opposition o nyanda cross le sa fo ko ferio tinyatal yalo be right?
Yeah.
Mini be do ko la airport yala ngatele ol fananta ni opposition la mol ko binala sa fon dole kalta dunna jang maybe son nin tuba nyol be mu den sorong airport pour ngana politiko. That is free and fair, right? Wala tina GRTS yala tele wolta do ko ika opposition kula jeje dabo ya folo kunu ngala fenkoto. Moro, some of these state institutions are supposed to serve the general interest and the general welfare of the Gambian people because they are paid from the taxpayers' money and not from Barrow's pocket. So Barrow cannot subjugate this country to make it look like it's his biological inheritance. Gambian ko nyanta wulla ko tandi Barrow la ko Gambia manke keta bankuti. Gambia is not manka mankunda, natara manka mankunda ay tolle la family tamu jedi jemi la keta bankuti. Ay tawo tilin sati dingol la wodo. Para Gambian ten, Gambia manka la keta bankuti. So the civil service and of course people who work in government who are paid by taxpayers cannot be seen to be doing politics as normal because ibe barola dala la mutala. Abi olokono IEC and our justice system and some key ministries like education or let's say higher education. Ngaje ko NPP la students wing invited the Minister of Higher Education to the activity. How about if UDP students wing invite him and he's supposed to hold barola dala? But as students who actually support the UDP or support other parties, for Gambia ministry, can those people also invite that minister? So sometimes some ministries need to look at their roles and responsibilities and ila kore wal community. Minister dole bije wala do ko lan kadum politiko kono bara dole bije wal they should be there to make sure that even if they are involved in partisan politics, not to the level where people can see ko Kari is not trustworthy enough to actually associate with because I support the opposition. Oto Adam Mandiamo no, Adam Mamasiano, Adam Mangambia Sambano. adama nyanta bola jele.
I mean, I think ka generalize one friend me and I have a problem with it. Kavoko mo no contract do ko nyina dala sidala. I think that's the no
do gomes nyol yalan do gomes nyol ko le mo la ko do sunya e bora je fenge da mala bondi je o pa biron walla bi je yana sai asaka yale tolle kan la walla ko e ko di sunya rek bara murunda ko den yalla wol fanam biela do kulal la kon ako mo be nyanda tella dala mu dal ako to gambian ko be nyatili walla ka tandi ko adama la man sakunda mul manyan nan to la election refereeing fon kala kadu ba wa tele ta do ko wala then there will be nothing fair and free in and communities to alkalo fanam they can be threatening natives or maybe fana itenate e land so sa te to nyami maybe komando mol ka mol so land la let's say wulin kama mi yalon kontrollo sa te bere bere la family jamal so land la ni baroy wol threatening alkalo nata to be ya wulara nu adun tal kala moro eko dunia eka kuto kuyele karlen dol sindi ay sonyin land la and now his position is at risk out of fear and out of love for the man, and of course, they will all vote for a regime that they never wish to vote for. And then Barrow will become like an iron fist, worse than probably Jamaica. Minika police will fire. Kaulia la partido kam. Wolman korikula Gambia. You know, you know what? Enough is enough.
Yeah. So, Doc, we video better than from there to our chip and let's launch this together.
a fero soto a fammaji abuka mo barandi abuka boy mo la senkam ko be gatte fala enne nana fanya saban jangoto man opposition sono Gambia killing UDP ila pabini banko beko sanke balon ay daha afon la parti ngol ya fole wodo man ko position oti GDC mama kande awala parti wo fongo maran kunno wosi banko maran kunno ba ngada esa falia abuka tonya ko ala moyal man kese aba si banko di wala bang ngada mun to ko renke ngada doy ila kebani akade la ko denke o de banya don go soto ko di banya la sikate di wala ba ani juma ko denke dindi ngoni me UDP jalfa president Baroko mo wona la adresse lo ila adresse wala kati na sama be min ko la koto.
All right, so he talked about the issue of Talib Bensouda, and he said, ako wala ka fomo mo la diminial nako dol mo zepela di ma fo umari da fon la va zepela I don't know, so ako dol mo zepela di and at the end of the day Kemo he threw shot on Kemo. Do you think this is necessary as a whole minister characterizing people, because ni mo da characterize be sa mala ko le ko ni mo minister ne Gambe bango ka based on that wala ye charge I don't know for 50,000 number, but you're going to be prosecuted if you insult a minister or the president. Yeah, I mean, do you think this is fair enough to throw shot on your opponent?
You went to the University of the Gambia. I used to work in the same institution. Ning ayata rabi politico nitala politico fatata, or you were my student. Whatever might have happened in your academic undertaking, do you think it will be, out of academic integrity and otherwise? Would you think it will be necessary puruntanga bona woto kana foko, akarde kabra benna class I bila soda wala sila soda wala dila soda. I am getting now into your persona. I am getting into something that should definitely not belong to the political space. I am actually exposing my intellectual nothingness. So while on ning Ismaila nyol diamuta, they think it look at diamu mole yalon kumo niafo because you work in an academic institution, but then nibe bola woto. Student all need a grade so kote mol wala tuje. Student all need patadali Minnesota je wala tuje. If you think Kemo has a personality issue or there is something wrong with him, go and talk about that. But don't bring issues me alonko ila academic, information that should not in any way be brought to light by any professor ita kana wol fintini ko karbe janna sanji tangama nyimbanongo. University of the Gambia does not have, let's say Kavoko, there is an apex number of years that you should be there to acquire a degree. I can choose to go to university for 20 years. Do you know if I have a financial problem? Do you know if because of my job nature I have to defer here and there? But that does not mean that I am intellectually stupid not to be able to complete a degree. Because Ismaila Sisela, you can basically tell who's got papers and who probably got knowledge and wisdom. But again, these two, let's make a comparative analysis. It's not just about getting a degree and being qualified to be called a doctor because you can conduct research independently. What research has he conducted? If you look at PhD dissertation was about bombing strategies of young Gambians, in trying to get to Babylon. I refer to him as, let's say, a narrative informant. What does that bring to our Gambian society? Do you know that doctor's dissertation is to inform the West about the strategies of young Gambians, how ikatubabo bombs nyami. Puri se lamfe no nyami, puri ka tanga no Gambia fondinke la nyami. Wobentola economy sambala no nyato nyadi. Omon currency fault. That is informing pan the young people of our country. Many along ko ilabalu da fon be nyimbi cholde ni internet ka failed. Ite wala karang. Ita ko political scientist. I don't understand it. Personally, that is not my domain. I do not know what African studies is, and I don't know what political science is. But maybe African studies means political science because I know doctor's degree is African studies. Maybe that is, of course, it has some political whatever. But maybe if his degree title is called, either political. If your degree title is called African studies, African studies la kara. If your degree title is political science, tell people I studied political science. I studied environmental sciences. It cuts across a lot of disciplines, but I will not come and tell people that, oh yeah, because I analyze data, I'm a data analyst. But it's not my specialty. If you study African study, Africa tundo ni moli itara nyang wala study. Purka tubabo karande puri sana mol lamfe no nyame purun kana offense rebel. Boy, I rather not have a degree than have a degree like that. Yet again, yena amuri ko ka afo molle ko dole bije, wolka mala ko imam futa. Dr. Lafudada, is a fault. But look at the political nature of how he was talking. Because itabuka femfo mole mini alonko Gambia la nyaro tanin na mola juru aite bola foka. Imantra bata adal mini bekering albe mini falling no lemantra wol foka. Baraka mole jibe ka mole neng. Ke dabula mola ka kuma tilimba lolo foima. Mini alonko wala baraka tetet. Mini alonko wala akatetet. Mini alonko wala kuke jana mini alonko omun nyontanku wala mini alonko etete okay no. So to look at people kafo ko imam futa, kadol jibe kafo ko tractor this tractor that, but moro reflect again. It is this regime that seized tractors from farmers and sold it to themselves, and went ahead to give them donkeys and donkey carts. So nimbi wallo te la political platform do kafo molle ko hay to le tractor le di farmer la. Even when saying that, the figures so ibuka along for me motonyat mindo ba fola taworo jana mindo ba fola ko kemenin tan konon jana. That tells you about how the regime is hell bent on lies, deception and manipulation to deceive the masses in our country. If angol la kumol ka nyokare midin dula kilongot we atandilo ko tonata nyine bulu e manke tonya mole baranta buka sumaila blame. You know why? Nin crowd theater and you are unprepared. Your platform odila ika pule ni parata doro ita buka ale kami buka simela diamu dala fa pareta ibuka kunna fenye bonni nyodo. What has he said? I tell you, I asked you the question. Sumela munafo. What did you pick from out of what he said? What did you deduce from his entire speech? Amurun ta ko ngara west ko zaka ko semento ya ga no gel e ma example pass anyi tan kere para wadunta jabota jab ko exam pass or either imang university bank. What has that got to do with one's competence? We have seen the best of people who are technologically advanced in the world, the biggest billionaires, the movers and shakers of this world. Many along they became dropouts from universities and became top-notch. But nila karama man faham exposure is level. But ito ko minimang karang ita ka bula president ko min no maybe fang faka mi albe bor ka min na moto kedo no akaranda muntolo university duwa. Ita ko president mi yalon ko wala Gambia beno wala nyanda Gambia nyaton ko yal iko ka dolla karambali yala ko barete be min fon no mo karanda mundol.
Quite ironic.
That tells a lot about people behaving like sheep. Alon sadio ni min banyato ko reol be ka bula no ani nadara ko metal karanda wol be barete be bula ka wol no mete tole buna. You see that?
All right. So Tuba, quickly, you can intervene, Tuba, about the issue of the left ya boy Ahmad Ba fana nga upload like ako dialogue going to go easy with him again.
Like I'll just add on to Malmo Memfo. You can listen to that whole convention or rally, you can call it. Ndama fenje moye Memfo lado me mol nafa, because you could see ko Doctor the description or Menodika, we don't have an opposition, we don't have an opposition. Where is he a door? Malo father opposition party, will you for they are the ones, they are the ruling government. So everything I meant for you about, obviously he was referring to Kemo Bojan a degree. I don't think those should be secrets, those should be confidential. Mala in Antakatara at the university as a professor or a doctor, then talking about students later when you don't, maybe your politics or whatever do not align. I don't think that was okay. But Dr. Kumul Menul Befuji, not just doctor, I think the whole rally should have addressed key issues in the country. It's just like I would resemble this to like a periodic table sort of. We have important elements, but some people are busy talking about atoms, things that don't matter. The president talking about people who are going to take part in his campaign, and how the campaign is going to be well funded and well funded and sponsored. I don't think that matters to Gambian people at this point. Complain all the time. Obviously, they had a taste of what Nawe can do best and Bundu. So those are issues that need to be addressed. Security issues, how this country is going to go forward. The hikes in prices. How people are unable to afford basic food and basic commodities. Etronyanta Katara will address your plans and not just in theory but practically to help the people of the Gambia. But what may be caring President Mawofo, Minister Mawofo, my party Kebaba Fanankalo platform to Kafo, things like Baluo Sonia to be like a Tambi Kununt. But like ikaje ko modol bije wolbe diam kan konkole be wala ni e wol dal esti kamen for ni wil ke modunda wol da kono doro wol ke de wol fe my father, like the way he was speaking on that platform, you could see the reality in him ko nyembe mom ko kan amalla nyembe mom fo kan ay alon ne ko tonya tanolen ate fo ya alon na kamen fo. So like the guilt was there. Kaidin de women babla ko ning kaido bare bulu diamo buka dia da abulu. But wallahi fenta safiru kaido bala. Just like kind of some drama and action like sitting there na da paper the Dr. Ismail Azizela. But doctor has not said anything to change the narrative abedam. Abe memfo kaya ko kuma kilung attendant wala for parade. Ko we don't have opposition. He was being careful with the way he described UDP. Ako ila pabining mol be da ko trakwa ke bata. Those are just
Unintoy as well.
Unintoy as well. Then he went on the other ones. Obviously, near UDP, the UDPians, they will come for you. Near Doima, obviously, he had a taste of what Halifa can do to him at the debate. So the other ones, Adara Esa described in an unfortunate way. I think as a minister and as a former university lecturer or professor or whatever, he could have done better than that. There was absolutely no need to describe whether Kingo graduated or not. And to describe your students from past records and so on. So,
and Tuba, let me just say one thing. To describe your students. Let's go back to that same university. We put everybody on the balance. They are working in the university as staff and they are vendors for that same university. Conflict of interest. Social media, we know how those people defrauded the system actually to get some of them admissions. But I'm not because one thing political is about the ideas and how you better the society, how you actually improve life and livelihood of our people. But these are the kind of people who come and complain, you know what, they get to give opportunity to people from academia. But how many people from academia are in the cabinet?
No, like what matters, what doesn't matter, the inconsequential things. Yeah, I don't know how things are, but like the country definitely will not continue like this by the grace of God. I hope that either the people who are serving currently change for the best or for the better to serve everyone, whether you are NPP, you are UDP, whatever party you belong to, that doesn't matter. If you are a minister, the president is for everyone. Niman address can party politics, because at the end of the day, let Malakan, some people are obesila. So so Yemenke, it's just going to go at the end of the day, it's just gonna go and haunt you. Malmo is a savage. Yes, he is. I mean, I would Yeah, we can continue. What happened at the rally? You can ask yourself this question. I've not heard of anything that would make sense to me at the whole rally, because it was all politics, caricaturing people, and then talking about things where that are just not important.
Fenga jibe demba sabali ko mara for community knows lamade ban for doctor
when he was around,
but somebody who basically cannot distinguish a weed from a crop. We can to la agriculture minister. Mi yalong kwa balu mimbela wala nyinde koka. Even presidential advisor putting them in agricultural ministry trips. Many yalong ko should be experts in those subject discipline. Aka presidential advisor take dundi agricultural trip kono puri tama simply just to get DMs. Wasina amura kaka na amura kaja political platform. What's a fem for no Gambia card? Where mune nonto agriculture? What has improved in our agricultural sector? This guy is a pest, to our food basket. This person is a dangerous hazard to our agricultural food basket. Sa nyen tol na fano munela kado na manke simple political surrogate femko. Ni wante jumala be demba sabale chikala yo kendo agriculture minister. How can a community not be an agriculture minister in a country where you have agricultural experts? Whereas you don't want to put an expert there, what he knows the basics. Go to other ministries like environment. The president just pick our own, niece and put her there who does not even understand basics of climate and climate science. I did science at high school. Can have been the president, alata ala Gambia. Why? It's based on your behavior and the way you actually interact with society. Iko mole dundun jan so me ko dandan jan o manke ala nyasilam. Ita fo mole ko sanji saba jan so ma yavo ko ani luwa man info min diata nyambola kala. Hada madungo mi yalon ko yi wasata an wi lata ala lebo ko tilimbali asifal. So you know, these people got to be told the truth. Instead of talking to Gambians about things that matter, talking to Gambians about insecurities and issues that are happening within the country, talk to the Sukuta people about the Sukuta shootings, reassure them of their safety and security. Political other political parties or political opposition kasida dole ko alman futa dole ko alman karam mo ba atere be bulaka min fa no mo man ta karam mun to ka mo ne na man hani wala school certificate fa mo mi yalon ko kunun even reading basic reading amari buka keno so ite be bularin wono mete ni lo karamo be ite be bulakan karambalo no mete ko ka dole ko man karam mo ne la karamo ina fala soto moy so on Gambia nyanda falinal. And then there is one thing, these people need a very radical opposition to match their level, because in la political manke kabuko they are doing politics kulubali alom anon kulubali ala kada. That is just the fact, because it lo leka molla lundeng ika bula molla sate molla ika molla mol tiretin sate le min soto da janite be wulula fon ida ko ka wolle ka folle ko nyanta tamala nyame simply because powering authority le bebul. But powering authority has basically, like we said, of course, there are responsibilities they come with. If you are not responsible enough and you want to be that irresponsibility will be giving back to you. This is what we got to do as a people. And as savage as they are, we got to show them that we can be twice as savage as the regime is. So, Gambian ko nyanta wala jala ko, bawo mobe be tolle la dala muta alinda mal nga nyola dala muta butum mobe la mbiro sansan kaje ko, what there is that unity within the opposition front to make sure that this government is ousted come December 2026, because they are fit for nothing. This is a group of cannibals and greedy folks who are actually hell bent on destroying this country like pest. That is why I refer to them as the pest regime.
Yeah, so my last video and then from there program on Lola will follow Kunala. But it's rather unfortunate when it comes to a message you mentioned SFL going through his CV. I haven't seen any Gambian he was able to achieve at its your mid-30s, to be able to be a deputy prosecutor working at international domain. I mean, making headlines in international affairs like such an individual. I think at all indication he may have his flaws and whatnot, but as I'm back dunia kono and no fana like join the back TRC fana do ko min keje mo base natale hajala do ko nyima min keje. So njikita ko politics should be a bit decent, though. I mean, you can throw shot on each other, but it has to be respectful, because I kuma coming for Kemo in Kemo feeling I mean he afana fini da kuma do for Dr. Sisema to moment near University of Fanani. I know that Okumo men get Tonyati, but I'm offended me and is gonna have a scar on his reputation and whatnot. And you offended me and I can have no way the Bangkok, because Nikeva most somebody kid you put 50,000 because of Dr. Sisa caricature. So I mean, without much ado, But last video dun and in that last video then badan na world ba o last video ba kala min de wala ya jambe la kodi nana malmo kabri ko jambe kanana manam fayla mol samba tujara na bam because um iko nyako amin tujara ning ko
diam
jambe
butala
jitri
kuola
jina
ki fi nekkoon président di Jammeh wax na mbiram
bari safu demba sabale ko
waaye may wax Demba Sabali ne
ab equatorial guinea abe kuma bal men fo kanje
wax ju rëy jama wax Equatorial Guinée fam nekk
yalo former president limati
xam nga moom président la woon léegi
aya lonne ka fa ko president wala sembo momenti ate wolonde
moom xam na lan mooy doole ak maxamaay
aya
président
lonne ka fa gambia bi intelon commander in chief of the armed
xam na ne
forces
tey Gambia fii may commander in chief ci réew mi
ate wolonde nin do malo ate alon
moom su ko kenn xamul moom xam na lu
ngo sembo le babul nu njang
te du doole boobu la amoon fii
wo sembo ta bulu ko
loolu
tenke
doole boobu amatu
wo sembo be president barole bulu
doole boobu man maa ko amee
sa nga fayele
wax naa ko
ila saro meta baake
ma ne yàgga ga di tàggoo trop
luntan sarala ba
ma ne gan guy tàggoo
o man bare taala de
kooku saa yu nekk
ala saro meta baake
ngeen xam loolu gan guy tàggoo
gambia bi janne gambia bi jang
mu ne Gambia ngi fii
airport bi jang
airport baa ngi fii
motol be borikan
moto yaa ngi
trenol be borikan
leen yaa ngi naaw
ayena
mu ne na ñëw
akana kuma kense ko borom
ma ne na ñëw
kuma kense
all right bele wo mo nyoro dok tuba ako momin kasara ba ko mon pare na ako mon la pare na la bala football sikal but I think government is joking with Jambe's issue. Let us be realistic. System of Jambe so you know be me and go beyond some you will to me call but Jambe ko Jambe have a support base. Jambe have National Assembly members, deputies or like councillors or Jambe supporters or and yani ni support so la kena modi me an ko atare no kam fara da Jambe fonna ko da ko pour que Jambe la duwani ni ani pour que Jambe la bagin ni ani what not and a kabino kena no victim or kena modi me man kontan wa bi kabin Jambe announcement last week kabin Jambe announcement ko kabina na wala lokun tambela and your government responded. And in President Adam Barrow, a video, what a video what do you make out of this video?
Well, Jammeh diam da kanilale. I think I will start from that. Ndeka balafa molye mamal siade mamarol siade je kebal siade je some people health conditions siade ndanga moje faminul boyde je itaraje to listen to him. That tells you ko I mo jamal sotole in the region in the Gambia, especially in Foni about Diamond molye alongo anytime I command okay ibiti dankula. So the issue of Alana, and he made it very concrete ko November. But November le kono sayangana jube for jamabina fatina. Ko the question of finding the kanabang. Yes, I think he should come and tell us his side of the story. It's not going to be that easy. Jammeh ruled the Gambia, or he was president for 22 years. So what's here at back at Puru I now wanyama dorong ko like comment normal tamala. I think it will be there are due process to follow. If you are accused of crimes and as of now Jammeh has not been tried yet. So due process ning yo follow the issue of Jammeh now. I don't think Jammeh can come without the involvement of the government because Jammeh is not an ordinary person. That's all jana ninga ticket also no Gambia passport bembulungata. So Jammeh left the country is about 9 years or so. Malon for passport Bablu Lebang. I don't also know how he is just going to come. Equatorial Guinea, or maybe Malmo can help me. I think there is a landlocked country. So Malon of Finland one no water nyadi. The Fabina ning Bale Labang, Fabina ning like plane because plane de Gila, plane Obokata Nyama Ji Banjul, water a Malon from who are the arrival guests. Plane old Motola Kual Mankili. Momo Canada, there's a lot of intelligence, a lot of information. Airport beam security letter. So Jambetinaro Nyama water Mansapunda Makalamut. So I think if they can do whatever it takes, but also I think there's a lot of politics involved as well. Back in the days, obviously, I mentioned Barota no Kanilale, and then a lot of things happen here and there. But science and Jambe Falaka kana ako elaluntan serlaba na ameta sarolisa nga malefikana so acquire now. But there has to be facilitation. I don't think Jambe him alone. Kuma abinala no nyama. Nada. I think iba mutala ni amuta ya sama luwa nyati ngola dorong menyanta ke luwa to weke nim aboyta luwa mem for wait time I don't want it. That's how I see it. It's not going to be that easy, but in summary that's how I see it. If he comes like any other accused person ngamra baya following back in the days when Barrow went to Kanilai and Sego Jambesinano is a citizen of the country, it was a day or two after there was a graduation at law school. And in Batambedu's speech, he said, make no mistake about it. If the former president Yahya Jammeh ever steps in this country, he will face immediate arrest and charges of the most serious kind. So Ba went to cement his position as an attorney general. Further down the line, he said, and no amount of irresponsible talk or political brinkmanship can prevent that from happening. Who was doing the irresponsible talk other than Barrow? Who was doing the political brinkmanship other than the president? So I think that's the kind of by Kujamal, but allow us stand ko ninja menada he should face justice. So many people you call they have to face justice. So Jammeh as a president, I don't know how it goes. Maybe Malmo have more ideas than I'm saying, but Puri Jammeh Nanang, he can come. But Malabina Nyama, I task Scott free to Kanila, as much as we enjoyed our time in Kanila, but I don't think it's going to happen that way.
Yeah, so but before me that Malmo come, I mean, kwaya fanya I mean jamme modi me anako sa sembo soro bake no banko kan na keda modi me anako sanyi mo anin fula ay marok wala banko kan ay sembo pa kata wala babu anu ikara sokore soro mo al dipidel na la dipidel fini dal ni koni ke ba jambe ares la ya podo iba fini no wuli ni dal and what not. And others also project that last week I had a political science analyst tanije ko di jambe amo moldi me anako is a threat to the stability of this country ni atara la fakasi wolo jene. There are other factors or worst scenarios that can even happen because I mean Jambe military expert them. So we can project so many things. Do you think they should even allow Jambe to even though you have right, but at the end of the day, you try to weigh certain issues. Yes, you're right to put but the greater good for me, I think the greater good should supersede everything. I think ECOWAS need to be involved for Kajako. Ka Jambe Kala Marin Samba ICC pour Kajako is a prosecuting on because ICC dingala miana ko ni mamanta hadam ni wala nyantola tinyala ila banko e banda imu modi miana ko system manoji and Ghanaian will they have a strong case against Jambe with regards to ala kuoni. What's going to be your take on it? I mean Jambe ka alawa nana ka land banko ka wala pour kaja ko kari direct karad lado.
I'm not a legal expert, I'm not a legal luminary. I think for due process le bije menyan ta follow. So the issue of niaje menyan for kan Jambe ko abinali. So anonga ko ate bala me November kono bi mu jalati fotili sebang men tuta je ko renke maybe asiare mo tili mo nim fula wala be tulaje sa ngaji be don fo Jambe binale fo atina na government na finte ko ibitale ka muta o so o iba assemble nam by force, yeah, but right now kiba fa ngolo ka te bina nga babili fa ko abina so kono sa ngaji be don fa bina. I don't really think, I think it's a political talk mami ra ko abinala no fa anata ahamo balal de but mala sembo bala ko sembo membe no mabul adama dingo mo mokilin dambalti me sembo diala num bake the convoys and all the military, the police and all that, because he was a president. The day that he left the country, the day that Barrow was announced victor of the 2016 presidential election, what power be, you could see even when he was speaking, he knew the power that be at the time to him was gradually fading. Ana diam nyaaya wo itande so ikaje wolda ko itante moldi sembo membe la luala dida na banda bandale. So it's just gonna be crazy, but let's see what the government can do. I mean I don't have any expertise in that, but Jamaica Kabina Fatina, we will see that, right? That's yet to be seen.
So thank you to Senator back of Fanani, Doc, what do you make out of the video? And I mean, sign. President Baroko, Iba Mutrini. President Baroko, ako moming kasapala kanana, and then ako Jambe ko makes. Do you think Adam Barrow is playing with fire?
No, along obey politicality. There I will not talk about, for La Fama, any Gambian you choose to come or whatever. But the consequences of his coming, could definitely, shaking the peace and stability of the country. Niajo fota mune fama jamme bondi Gambia. Kado adama la fonko nin jamme tuta Gambia maralobe kolyale tolbulle. Because this is a man who had ruled this country for 22 years. It's on the song, I can do like but he has done a lot of good and a lot of bad. And he still, pulls a lot of, support. So Mari Kabe Sabatala Nuo Bankoka, he could always in any way, trigger one thing or another. So Wale Yaya Bondije for Gambia to have a new government so that these people can actually run their government in peace. Whatever the agreement is na haji to wadaman Kenya lamma kalamda. But a memo kuoti wala nyintiko. Ni ya akabe na Gambia bi wala biya natana. That could actually compromise the peace and security of the country. Ni yaya nara Gambia barobe bako mimbela na yaya aresa defa bela no like state house. We basically know what this guy pulls. Sure. Barola man sakunda wale Gambian National Army isolate. Dole be kono fon the CDS went to see them ikafo hand uniform from master. But these are the same people that Jammeh empowered and made them look like Musanolati. Joining the army during the Jammeh regime was a big thing. So when you do those comparisons, you realize that not just the army, but of course a lot of lives and livelihoods this person has changed. Niyaja up till now, he pulls a whole lot of crowd in certain parts of the country, even though about original. But you know, Masakunda, the minta original, the whole bohol pompol be busibulu. Ka konko la fay kan kaje ko hani la gadi no fon ka jiyo soto min fon la yela jibulu soto bulu fon be kuntu
anen courant
yela courant wala kuntu yela bohol pompol be busibul mi ya lon ko atolo mo sang ya le wodi wala. You think those people are going to support the regime? Ngo mi yela baluwo soni andi be carte fay la be carte di be la carte di la wala ndi be loyalty so la wala ya. And that is not only in just the people in that region that they try to alienate and of course militarize, but across the country. So what Yala Gambia would basically be problematic for government because it might, cause what Dabo might have once said, it might, lead the government to become, the country to become ungovernable. So the best bet would be for him to stay where he is. But I think Baro control ko let him come. I'm going to arrest him. Ngamra kunun kuno Baro kino wala tata ya la korda ko na kudo DJ ka ko lafta la inanang inonteni tolbe kukelin trying to form an alliance or even in an alliance with the APRC. APRC is not the not alliance of course is the Jammeh whatever, but the other one is a bedfellow to Baro. And I heard Baro and Jammeh used to have talk. So ni wole mkuti mi sorata what Adam atela manala dun danda wala nyaton ko bentolbul kuno min kontole ko ya mam bete ya bondi ngata keje amurunta kata ni yale babulu dunna nyobul pour ka masakunda tamani ya ko hani nyimo falolati mbota wota ko munen ko renke ya ko mena sela naka hani nata sembo bentela bulo be nyinni kala. It speaks more of the regime and its inability to do anything meaningful. Look at the security sector reform. Where is the new constitution? Where is the TRRC recommendation? Wabaro kiringola sita control ko they are going to implement ya la nyimfenko ko TRRC bijan. Parangame wabaro kiringola sita control ko Esafal was doing politics at the TRRC. Completely discrediting everything that the TRRC did.
And today they are
but what did Barrow pass? 9 in the TRRC, F9 in the Constitutional Review Commission, F9 in the Lands Commission, F9 in the Faraba Commission. Now they're talking about this tick box, whatever nonsense commission they put up anti-corruption. That is just another tick box. Because to babole sasipuri yake. So you mean kelebeta mulle talamini alonko ya fus, ya tick box ka asodota. So the whole point is that it told me kataka APRC la molo mutake arrest because they are putting green flags in the country. Luwa jumala ko is wrong to actually put green flags. What law prohibits APRC as an existing political party to put green flags across the country? Either Jammeh is coming or not. If you think Jammeh did bad, go and pursue him and of course make sure justice is done. But why is the government of the Gambia not even pursuing things in that line? But of course, just wanting Jammeh, just stay there and be quiet there and told after minna ngotaman niya. So nothing. The whole point is arresting APRC folks is not justice. That is wrong, and I hope APRC can outrightly come out in their numbers to condemn the arrest of their people for just putting green flags across the country. Anybody can do that.
Is their party? Is their party by
exactly.
the way?
So it only Jammeh tema, Jammeh is coming. All they are just political talks because, like Tuba said, for passport babulum malo, and in passport fanam babul, how would you fly from Equatorial Guinea to Gambia? Or fanam Gambia? This is only through diplomacy that Jammeh can come to the Gambia. It's not by his choice and of course by force. Amanke ko ikatama nane from Equatorial Guinea manke kasama stedami alonko you walk into the country. No. So, Wolbe is just diplomatic, whatever. And I know Obawiang and other people, ECOWAS and international community, would of course prevail on him to say, you know what, we want stability in this country because Jammeh's return to the Gambia could lead to instability. So, Dunyata wajibela pur Gambia dungo instability konantol. We are too small for that. But also the regime is not anyway reliable, dependable, or anyway serious about anything. So Barrow's regime is worse than anything you can imagine. NPP have a right to put up there that, ask color, whatever things across the street. UDP has the right to do so. NRP has the right to do so. You want to arrest APRC folks for putting up the, in a green fenko. But the reality, when you're done.
So, Karima made a Jambela issue in government can rely on it, put the election on ka cancel at some degree, even if Jambia manna, but by a pronouncement on you make attending. As we agree into election for Kajako, Kifon solidify, Kifon
Boy, election that cancel la janka, election or cancel the president of Sodola. And the country will become ungovernable.
But no get a Fabakara Bakara president and Sirinya Bakara president, President Anabora Siro.
I do read nonsense, look at a Savar. Go. I want the Fudala be found. Yeah, I have a combination Gambia and election was sound. Election sound the Kuma, we have not seen anything like that. Nalon ko police all fan Tilimbali and Infant all to keep this economic and of course and all those whatever. Barrow does not trust the Gambian armed forces. And they know it. They are not empowered and they know it. They are not supported and they know it. But I will be there in the wrong because you know what? Allow the democratic dispensation to actually usher itself in the way it wants. This government has got to go. It's of no good to the Gambian people. It is not serving the Gambian people. It is just serving individuals who come together to form a government to loot the country. Corruption. Why are they trying to take ports people to court? Corruption. But just look at the way and manner they uprooted the Auditor General from his office. No, yeah, but you must like more during the $20 la mon found la airport when you are going in and when you are coming out. Yeah, Jamaica, $20 maybe. But anyway, I think Jamaica is just talking. I don't think that is going to happen. Whereas it should happen, know that it's going to be through diplomatic channels. That is not in any way trying to discredit APRC and their ways and Jamaica's pronouncements. I think they are just political talk. And I know Barrow knows that. Let him come. Kirib Karabadunda. Bara kunung jannin jamme ka fon kanala atelo ko jamme kanana wala na jamme ka ko hey temanke ay kumatili malo fama but to summarize it all, I think the regime did nothing about Jammeh and they have been put under pressure by Jammeh and Jammeh still commands a lot of following in the Gambia. And the regime contributed to that because kabirim watata itolle murunta wala tundo kanala mol kanke tora kela fengol tinya kela jibul ji sora bulol kela balu fon ko yandima just because to militarize those regions simply because they even sit at the TRRC ka ko jola ñone ka problem bi ci dekabi lolu yeb dega nañ ko fi. So Nyimman Sakunda, even though Jammeh had his excesses, this government is not built on truth and is not going to actually do anything that is built on truth and it's not actually, functioning on truth. It's just a government of deceptors. Folks, mini along go. I mean, if I'm in a mold la karangol nanjanda ya Jamele wala PhD la first year Joja. But anyway, I hope Jammeh stays in Equatorial Guinea to give Gambians, stability. More, I found a mute in it.
Sorry, in Kafal election Binaka de Borob election sound that they were capitalized them or can election sound legend. I mean, it has been a great session though.
Election sound the State House at Asimankamakunda. And then the country would be without a government.
Why don't go Osio for Mankamakunda Alcalo, President Barola appointment. But the Alcalo, Capital Mogu Alcali, I don't want to Barola Pulsiana. So, all in all, it has been a nice session though. I mean, we got a lot of followers, a lot of them are following us and messages are coming all over. We're going to continue this to have a discussion on, very important issues. Now, analyze, we have a real life footages for Kapile, for Nakatake, after, but it came back time, what no problem.
But on that childhood mentality. Oh, no attire, no cigarette, no kirib karab, no nyama sabo, no. Pabilla, ndolla pabilla, funkol mollati, walla lual mollati, no. Attire, no, we associate ataya to nongol mi kasi silo kay katara ata kimola je kanya mo sabale ka siga sabale ka ka ken nongol so no, if you start this you move to the next level. So no favila mentality is like no ataya no cigarette no nyama no karam ndara fa gonda ko kunya nyami wol fa gande jagal mol ko min no nyami but anyway, life and choices.
That is very nice though. Even Baroka Minana.
I remember hearing no gonde ada himanga mo ada no. Hey no ba yara fo ikafanya fa sukuru wana ndame mo fara ndame mo yela mo kon. Yela da bu simbul wala fi. Fa bu go fara go.
So megala nakane.
Ndamo long. But anyway, it was nice talking to you, man,
Yeah, so I mean, next week I'm Mirala Karena Jizani Damandi, I mean, it has been a great session though. We got a lot of followers. We content the back. So thank you so much for having you. Thank you, Tuba. Thank you, Usman. Nanoko, Ibro Mutanal Daman, Tuba, and Usman. Have bachelor law. It's a drone of Musiti young, and then I think we will talk about it later.
All right, no problem. Thank you. It was nice talking to you. Goodbye.
All right, thank you.